Hey, it's the God Awful Gospel Hour, and we got a special guest tonight, Pat Dean.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw you. We saw you do your thing at Austin Java, and reached out.
We brought you here to thank you for doing something comedy in South Austin.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, so, yeah, you guys met me at Austin Job. I was sweeping the floors there.
Yeah.
And you guys were like, this guy seems like a pretty cool dude. Let's have him on the podcast.
Can you get me some creamer, sir?
I always carry creamer on me at all times.
But
just
you brought the
because-
creamer so funny. I was like, hey, comedy in South Austin.
Yeah, I tripped and fell, and you were like just laughing at me as I bled.
Creamy slapstick.
Yeah, and then the mic didn't work for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys were at that one? Yeah, so that was my goddamn friend Sawyer yanked the
He's trying
mic.
to sit down on the bench or something.
Yeah, he was trying to just like doing a bit, and then
Don't get to
he
go over there.
he yanked on his. He was pretending to fly fish with the fucking thing and with a cord, and we thought that he pulled the. There was a problem with the microphone, but he pulled the power cable out, so that's why it wasn't working. So it was like this 15-minute thing, and then he just kept going, and he actually started killing after that.
Yeah, he was doing really good with no mic.
Yeah, he kind of murdered a little bit. I told him he should always not use a mic.
Yeah, you're doing funny fly fishing bits. Now you're doing a funny use your diaphragm bit. You get to project your voice. But yeah, we could all hear him. I mean,
Hell yeah.
We used to go there all the time when it's the Bakehouse. That was the shittiest restaurant in South Austin.
Oh, really?
It was like Gordon Ramsay's nightmare. They couldn't pick a thing to do. They had every food from everywhere. They had like goulash and Reubens.
Oh, okay. Well,
I went in there. The one time I went in there, I was like, this is the restaurant. This is the scene before Gordon Ramsay comes in, starts yelling at people and finding all the rotten food
Choose
in the
a
kitchen.
fucking
and all that.
specialty. Look in your fucking walk-in. Everything's moldy.
do any of those restaurants like stay in business? Whenever I look them up, they're always closed.
I think last I checked, there was something like I don't know, like 67% closure rate even after Kitchen Nightmares was there. There's been like a few that have turned things around, but it's the whole industry. It's so hard to keep going.
Well, I mean, hey, that's a better successful rate than AA.
Yeah, isn't AA like 10% or something
it's
like
about
that?
10%.
There's a lot of overlap between AA and restaurant managers.
There's a lot. Yeah,
Those are the
believe
same
me.
dudes.
Yeah,
And
it's very
NA.
upsetting.
It's a cocaine-fueled nightmare running a restaurant. So you went to Tech?
No, I went to Virginia Commonwealth University, located
Richmond,
in
hell yeah.
beautiful Richmond, Virginia.
My ex-fiance went there. She was walking home from the bar that everybody goes to at that time, and she heard a fight. So she went around the other block to avoid the fight. And then this piece of hair went down the road in the wind after the fight. And she was like, cool, tumbleweave. Well, I've been down there a bunch of times.
Richmond is pretty fucking cool. It is
Did you watch
pretty
the
tight.
Guar movie?
No, I didn't watch I've never seen that. No, but my buddy, his band
This is
used
Guar.
to share a practice space with Gwar. They were on the second floor. Gwar was on the first floor, and they used to steal Gwar's internet.
The Guar documentary is a kind of an ode to Richmond. It's beautiful.
Is it? Okay, awesome. Well, then
art.
I'll have to check it out. I was never a huge Gwar guy, to be honest with you, so that actually makes me kind of want to watch it then.
My thing was just that scene in Empire Records. So like, oh, that's funny, you know. And then when they were on Jerry Springer and they fed Jerry Springer to the plant, I remember those things. But I never actually sat down and or had a Guar album or anything.
So whenever I've seen them outside of them playing music,
Yeah.
on TV shows or doing whatever, they're always really funny and it
Yeah.
always looks interesting. But then whenever I hear the music, I'm like, oh, this is fine, I guess. I mean, I don't even know how you categorize it.
You got me into a new band, the Ogre Sound.
Ogre
It's in
Sound?
the background of all your shorts on YouTube.
Oh,
like
that one, yeah.
Creepy, heavy metal animation sounding music.
Yeah, my
It's
buddy
like-
Aaron found that. Yeah. So for a second, I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, the thing that we use every day? Yeah,
I've
it's
only
that.
heard that kind of music in movies. I was like, I didn't know I could just have that for driving around and
Yeah,
being
dude.
a psycho myself alone.
Do you guys know the band Judd Judd?
Is it JUDD?
JUDD space JUDD.
Okay.
So this came out when I was in high school, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. And I recently re-listened to it, and I was like, yep, still the funniest thing ever. It's two dudes where they're just making guitar noises.
Yeah, he went and
And
saw
one of
Clown.
them is on the left side, one of them's on the right side. And they're called Judd Judd because all they do is go, Judd Judd. Judd Judd, 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 wow now, jugga, wow, wow. It is so goddamn funny. Fuck yeah.
RealUltimatePower.net.
One of their songs, it's them tuning at the beginning. So they're like pretending to play harmonics and getting them in tune.
Excellent.
Fucking
It feels like I'm getting yelled at by my dad, but he has a stutter. Josh, clean the room.
That's
So,
cool.
You also brought up an old name I hadn't heard in a while, Ben Cholak. Where's he at? How's he doing?
Ben Sholok.
Am I saying that right? Cholak?
Cholok.
Cholak.
Cholok. So Ben Sholok is a troubled individual that I know who was
Okay.
we used to
He came
live
to the Cedar
together.
Door thing a couple
Yeah,
times
that's so funny that you brought up the North Door mic the other day. I haven't thought of that mic in
No,
like
it's the Cedar
13
Door on 2nd Lavaco.
Is that what it was? Okay.
My cousin was the manager. He gave me the whole back room. So I ran it with, this guy that got banished from Austin comedy.
Oh yeah.
By Kat Rozminski. She was the spearhead on
Oh,
Facebook
really?
of like kicking him out of here.
Oh, weird.
So you're going to see her tonight, right?
Yeah, that fucking mic. I remember going to it a few times, like 12 years ago. I hadn't thought about that in forever until you brought it up.
I found a whole old Facebook message of me messaging Nick Mullen in 2011 saying, great set. Do you want to come do the showcase? And he never wrote back.
Well, you know what? Maybe
Just
he'll
moving to
hear
New
this
York.
podcast and he'll take you up on it. Do a big reunion show. You and Nick Mullen, like the old days.
I don't know. I think he's scared. Speaking of...
My roommate has his mattress.
Kat Rozminski, he's another one of the ones that comedians that got the shit beat out of them in Austin in 2011.
Yeah.
Kat and Nick.
Yeah. I think that was that the one where he said Sugar Ray?
Yeah, he made a Sugar Ray joke, and apparently there was
Ray.
some huge Sugar Ray fan that got mad and punched him.
Yeah, Nick Mullen got punched in the face at Cold Town Theater.
He said, what is this, sugar gay?
Yeah, he said something about Sugar Ray sucking or sugar gay or something, and then he got like punched in the face.
Yeah.
Which is like of all the reasons to like
Get hit.
It's
in the
all
face.
the reasons for that guy to get punched in the face. It's so funny that it's that.
Yeah. And then for a decade, he said whatever the fuck he wanted. He's like, I don't give a crap. I already got beat up once.
Yeah, who
he
gives a
didn't
shit
get
at that
beat up
point?
for the right
like the
thing.
lamest reason. Yeah, wasn't he? He didn't even say anything controversial. He wasn't like Jim Jeffries making fun of guns and having some crazy right winger run up on stage and punch him, like happened that one time.
Which made his career, which
Yeah,
is kind of
right.
funny. Like he was already famous in the UK, I think, but it made him famous here because I remember they were talking about it on the Opie and Anthony show. You mentioned that before we started recording. Yeah, the Opie and Anthony show. They were like, "What the fuck is this?" And then they had him on, and they're like, "Oh, he's actually really funny." So
Yeah.
it kind of made him famous in America.
yeah,
Los Estados Unidos, as we call it.
The Australian accent is already a little funnier than ours. So they get away with it a lot. They get a little leeway.
Yeah, they can
Just for
definitely
saying cunt.
Yeah, you can say like grosser stuff with an Australian accent,
Yeah.
and I think it's because they're they're the party boys of
Yeah, they can be more racist. They're like, we don't know anything. We're dumb.
Yeah,
They get away with it.
dude. Yeah, years ago, my friend, she was a comic for a while. She was from Australia, and I was asking her like, what are the racial slurs in Australia, and like she was so petrified to tell me because you very much doesn't want to say these horrendous words, but she like whispered them, and I'm like, well, that just sounds funny. Like this doesn't sound racist.
It's always like a didgeridoo. It's always got a lot of consonants in it, a lot of vowels and consonants. Like
Well, there's a lot of adventure in Australia, even in their language.
yeah,
We
didn't
had-
want to piss off those Mazarenes. There's always things like that. Right?
Yeah.
We had an Australian guy on here, and I was asking him about this slang, the dunk-a-dunk, which is what I heard they call Aboriginals because they just run them over
Oh, Jesus.
in the outback, and they call them the sound that it makes when you run over a guy sleeping on the road.
Wow.
And then he was like, "You can't say abos."
Yeah, that's the one that
Yeah,
she
that's
said.
basically the Australian N-word, apparently.
Yeah, that one's really
yeah.
bad.
He showed me his family portrait, and he was the only white guy in the whole thing. He's like, all his brothers are native.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bushman.
We'd like to apologize to all
Bushman.
the Aboriginal Australians listening.
Yeah, well, they don't care about racism outside of Australia, but they really care about the interior infrastructure of whatever's happening.
They also don't like it whenever you make a joke about Donald Trump being assassinated, apparently.
Yeah.
Why?
So you break up your whole.
They
Today.
just
Oh,
threatened to deport
yeah,
him.
yeah, of course.
Tenacious D got canceled over the assassination attempts. It was just kind of an offhanded joke by Kyle Gass, but Australia was like MPs or whatever they are over there were sending letters about deporting Tenacious
called
D
the
after
Grand
that
Wizard.
joke.
Yeah,
on
it's
stage.
very
Yeah.
odd. I don't know
Yeah.
what the political landscape of Australia is like.
I
Maybe
know that
it's-
they have kind of voted in some pretty conservative Trump types
Oh, okay.
over the past, I don't know, 10 years. I don't know how they are
See how
currently.
you guys like it.
Yeah, right.
It's like Texas. They're super PC in the little cities, and then as soon as you get out, everyone is like
Yeah.
a redneck.
Yeah, during the pandemic, it was funny. I traveled. I drove to Colorado, and literally like 15 minutes outside of Austin is just no masks, no nothing. Like no one gave a fuck.
Yeah, if you, I remember whenever after Trump won, it was a few months later.
Donald Trump. Yeah. we should specify.
DJT after 45 won because he's Voldemort. We can't say his name. Yeah. I went out to Fredericksburg, and like the kind of clothes stores or whatever, or like the souvenir shops or whatever. They all had they had like pictures of the electoral map and all the red on it saying like, oh, it feels so good and all that. And I'm like, man, Austin is not that far away, but no. I mean, just outside. I mean, really, you make it to Cedar Park, you're pretty much there. I mean, it's just outside of Austin.
Yeah.
And that's the way, of course, Texas is like that, but a lot of states are like that. I know people from Pennsylvania, from like Philadelphia, who are always talking about how backwards and redneck Texas is. And I'm like, go 50 miles outside Philadelphia, and it's the same thing. Like there is very anywhere really
leave DC
on the East
for
Coast.
Half an hour, it's West Virginia.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to hear my Philadelphia accent? I can do a flawless Philadelphia accent.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. All right, I'm from Philadelphia. They have high voices and weird accents.
Want some water? You want some water?
We got some water for you. Get some hoagies.
Yeah, hoagies.
Some water.
Yeah.
If you
makes you want to wash their mouths out with soap. I mean,
something.
If you want to buy a house in Maryland, you got to get Haymaker's insurance.
Dude,
there's that little slide from. It's almost like you can hear the interstate in the accent.
Yeah.
From Philadelphia down to Baltimore.
Yeah. The Maryland accent is one of the. Okay, here's what's so strange to me about the Baltimore accent, because the Baltimore accent is like, oh, hun, we're gonna go over there, hun, and
cakes.
And there are a lot. I grew up right outside of Maryland, and I didn't even, when I was a kid, I didn't even know that was Maryland accent. I thought just people talk that way. And then, however, no black people from Maryland have that accent.
No,
it's just a white accent.
Right.
And I don't know what it is.
I guess it's like it's one of those, like, I guess historically, if you're so segregated and you don't have any like crossover, like the accents don't bleed over or anything. I mean,
I guess the question I'm asking is,
like Great Gatsby accent, like John Mulaney is like the most cunty. And
Yeah.
that's the same area.
how do we bring the Maryland accent to the black community? How do we do an outreach? Because it's a hilarious accent. I've never seen anyone black with it, and if I did, I would love it.
a black guy with a Maryland accent would be that's like that's like a unicorn, right?
Corner to
I
market.
think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Give that guy a YouTube special now. So you have a Lanalax Corporation, your
Yes,
podcast?
I also have a podcast. Sorry to compete.
There should not be any other podcast but my podcast.
There ain't room enough
in this
How dare another podcast exist?
Yeah,
I'm like one of those dogs that gets mad when it sees another dog. It's like, other dogs shouldn't exist.
So me and my buddy Aaron Brooks do a podcast called the Lanalax Corporation, which is it's sort of a cross between like Dungeons and Dragons and Black Mirror, basically.
I liked it. I felt like I was listening to Zork. Go north. You find a thing on the ground with all your hypotheticals.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing.
You ever texting Zork? Did you ever play?
No, but as you were saying, I realized what you were talking about. Those text games. Yeah. We both did those growing up too.
Choose your own adventure.
The multi-user Did you ever play MUDs, multi-user dungeons?
No.
That's like, so back in the day before there was like really the internet, everybody would dial into a BBS, a bulletin board system, and the BBS ran on a server.
Okay.
And on the server, you could run games, and they were all text-based games. And there was a thing called multi-user dungeons, which were text-based kind of RPGs that you could play with other people. So, and it was like, walk forward, attack, and all that. And they were actually really fun, but I knew people who just, it was basically WoW before there was WoW.
Yeah.
I was hoping they would do with Baldur's Gate, that they would do it just a tool set and let people be their own DM on that game within the constraints of their universe.
Right.
So it's kind of like that. and it takes place in a universe that wants to ruin your life. Basically, everything goes wrong. You always die.
Donnie
Spoiler alert.
Donnie was born into that darkness.
Okay, okay, good.
Donnie's the bane of that.
Good. Yeah, so we record it, and I apologize for bringing this subject up. We record it very high.
Yeah.
On marijuana.
Nice.
I know you have children, so I apologize, but we do drugs. And
I did cocaine last night for like 4 hours.
Oh, well, then in that case, I'm a huge pussy compared
care.
to you. But yeah, so we record them and then we put them out every weekday. So they're
the reason people listen to podcasts, the reason I listen to podcasts at work is because I feel like I'm hanging out with better people than I'm working with.
Yeah, for real.
So
yeah.
I can imagine, it's my own escape. This is why the caged bird sings. Either I make clips from my own show or I listen to one where like it feels like I'm having fun and not in a cubicle.
Yeah.
So it was fun listening to you guys.
Oh, thanks, man.
With bullshit and fuck with each other.
I appreciate it. Yeah. My favorite thing about it is just that half of the reason we do like the scenarios that happen is always us fucking with each other.
Yeah.
And it's always at least, well, no, he does it too to me. I always put Aaron in these positions that like he has to do something really bad, just something that he would never do in real life.
Yeah.
Or I go, yeah, and you don't give a fuck. You're just kind of being a jerk. And he's like, well, I would never do that. Like he's the nicest guy. So it's really fun.
You have to
and I know him very
your
well.
own demise.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's all yes-anding because it's all improvised. And so it's like one of the favorite things about recording that podcast is that because of how stoned I am, I will sometimes forget certain details, and so I'll contradict myself in the story.
Yeah.
And then Aaron goes, "Well, I thought that it was da 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 da," and then I have to go, "Oh yeah, well here's why that is," and you have to come up with an explanation.
You have to hamster wheel it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to essentially do a no prize, like a Marvel Comics.
It's evergreen. There's no. There's no current events.
It's not topical. No, not really.
So
there's recurring characters that pop in and out. There's a lot of really bad regional accents. It's very strange.
You never have to book guests because it only works with you two.
Yeah, it's us two. Every once in a while I'll have a guest, but yeah, we could go months without having a guest. Yeah, but it's really fun. I think it's like my favorite thing. It's my favorite project to do beyond like doing like live performance, I think.
Well, I can tell you that AI does know about you because I couldn't figure out how to spell the name of it on the computer here.
Oh, yeah?
So I just searched for Pat Dean podcast. And the AI was like, Pat Dean is involved in several podcast projects. I learned nothing. A philosophy podcast for idiots hosted by Pat Dean. Is that you or is that a different Pat Dean?
That's me and my buddy Ben Sherlock that we mentioned earlier.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we it's slightly on hiatus just because we're in our he is super busy with his job. I'm super busy with mine.
He's still in town now?
He is, yeah.
Okay,
so at the moment it's sort of on hiatus, but he is a dude who went to Princeton and majored in philosophy because fuck it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know much about philosophy, or I guess I didn't at the beginning. And so we did it where he every week explained a different philosophical concept to me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then it was mostly I've known Ben since we were 14. So
is he from Nova?
He's from Maryland, but we went to the same middle school for a year.
Donnie, I keep bringing people over here that are from where I'm from.
It's so funny.
Is this just a Maryland Virginia podcast now?
Yeah,
Am I the odd man out?
Find each other.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I'm from West Texas.
DMV.
So, yeah.
These are the comedians in Austin that have responded to my DMs and said, "Sure, I'll come on your show." And then we end up getting along and talking on DM, and then it takes like 2 days to go. Are you from? Oh, that's why this conversation is working.
Yeah.
We're all raised the same. We're the same common
You guys just
courtesy.
attract like magnets.
I guess. Yeah.
And maybe you guys are also like crabs, like pulling each other down.
Well, for
Maryland
different
crabs.
reasons.
That's
Right.
good.
Due to the unfortunate sexually transmitted disease that I have, crabs.
Those kind of crabs.
fully
right.
untreated crabs. Yes.
So yeah, it also tells us the Lanolax Corporation. So now I know how to spell it.
Yeah, it's just a nonsense word. Yeah,
It even says that you have been a guest on other podcasts.
I have.
Leading the Blind.
Yeah,
That was in 2017.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
A Pat Dean special, a hypothetical scenario discussion published on March 27th, 2020. That might be a different Pat
I don't know
Dean.
what that
He's
is.
got a FPIA set too on YouTube from we're talking about Trump, pre-Trump.
Yeah, so there's this contest every year called the funniest person in Austin
Furriest
contest.
pussy in Austin.
Yes. And so what I did is I just thought this would be funny. I went to Cap City and me and my friend Dustin, the guy who would film everyone's FPIA sets, I just wore the same clothing I wore the same night that I did it, and went up there and to a literal empty room because it was like 2 p.m, did a bunch of really bad Trump jokes to dead silence. And then we spliced it in, and then we would splice in actual shots from that night of me from behind. So you can't see what I'm saying, but you see a full packed crowd.
So it looks like
me bombing my dick off, but so confidently, with such confidence, not acknowledging that anything is going wrong, just acting like I'm killing. And so I put it out years ago, and like the number of people who thought it was real, I guess like I think everything is really obvious, and I guess it's not, because some people were like, dude, that was so ballsy that you did that. I was like, I didn't actually do it.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be stupid.
I'm going to FPIA in a week because we have a young, new to town comedian, Heath Underhill, that comes on here a lot.
Oh yeah.
And he's going to try it. I think it's just a rite of passage.
Have you ever done it?
Yeah. People come here and they feel like they have to at some point.
Well, you do.
I don't want to be the funniest person in a town.
Why not?
It's not valuable. I want to have the funniest clips on the internet.
Well, the thing that's really funny is that when you win the contest, you get money, and in years past you would go to like JFL and stuff, and a lot of people, it's how they got management, is that they won or they did really well and there was industry there, and they got management. And so
can we have a drank the most beers at an open mic contest? That's what
I've won so many of them then. But I just remember my buddy saying like, yeah, like the main thing after you win FPIA is that like it just means you go last at every single showcase for the next year, and it kind of sucks. Yeah. You can't just duck out after you go third, which fucking rules. Nope, you got to wait the whole hour and a half.
A lot of 12:45 set times.
Yeah. What can you do though?
I've gone to support friends at it a bunch of times, and been like, yeah, I know you have to do this. We all have to go.
So your AI summary says, note that Pat Dean's podcasting activities seem to focus on philosophical and creative endeavors with a mix of educational and entertaining content. So that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good summary of what you've told us.
I think AI is in love with you.
Well, I've been told that I come across very charming to robots. Yeah. So this makes sense. So the educational stuff is interesting to me, because the educational stuff was Ben teaching me about philosophy while I try my absolute hardest to just make him angry, because we've known each other for 25 years. So I know how to make Ben angry, even though he knows that I'm just trying to make him angry. He still gets mad. But the Patreon version of that we did for a long time was we flipped the script. And instead of me teaching him about philosophy, I just teach him about just whatever I just find interesting. Yeah. And so we actually learned a lot of shit through the Patreon more than the so you talked about goddamn Australia earlier. Do you guys know? Do you fuckers know about the Great Emu War?
No.
The Great Emu War was this thing I learned about for the podcast. So it's a real thing that happened. It was after, I believe, World War I. I want to say it could be World War II. It was a long time ago when I learned about it.
Are you relaxing us right now?
No. I promise. So what happened was these Australians came back from a world war, and they had like guns still. And then they came home, and then for whatever reason, this gigantic herd of emus were like destroying everybody's crops. And so they were like, not on my watch, mate. And so they fought against the emus, and they ended up losing to the emus. Like, they lost the war. And so eventually, I don't recall how it fully ended. I think eventually they just left. But
finds a way.
They couldn't beat these emus. And it was like this whole crazy adventure that they had.
Clever girl. They're all raptors.
Yeah, basically. Are emus kind of aggressive and mean?
Yeah.
They say that dinosaurs...
Like cassowaries with a bone on the head. It's like an emo variant in Papua New Guinea that just one-shots you.
Really?
They can kick you and like rip your stomach open.
They have that thing. They have the raptor thing.
Yeah, because dinosaurs are birds come from dinosaurs, if you believe this Charles Darwin guy, who I have a couple questions for, who will not debate me. I'd like to point that out.
I don't believe in science.
I've
done my own reresearch. I read one thing. Yeah, so I'm pretty smart.
I'm a
doctor now.
Okay, here's the problem.
Just like everyone else after COVID.
Yeah.
An insta-doctor.
The problem with science is that a lot of people who are like really, really smart say that it's true. So I just go, okay, cool, I'll just believe you.
Yeah.
But because I can't understand it. There's a lot of shit in science and math. I'm just like, I I can't wrap my brain around this, but for some reason I'm believing in it. So it's kind of it's weird. I guess what I'm trying to say is someone needs to teach me science because I'm dying here.
Science and law, but the goals of science and law are both to make findings, to discovery and make a
precedent.
Yeah, establish truth.
Like get a foundation on which.
That's why religious people hate science and law, because there's not everything's supposed to be in flux, and you could just make up. Why is the sky blue? Well, Jesus.
Well, okay, but I'll say this though: the thing that is good about science is also bad. The thing that's good about science is that you're supposed to have an open mind about things and go, oh, this thing that we all thought was real, that's true. This scientific fact, we were wrong about that. Here's what's actually true, which is good, but it's bad because to certain people it sounds like bullshit. It sounds like,
well, you thought this thing that was true, but now it's not. Yeah. So how do I know the new thing's true?
But how do we?
That.
That's the problem. Is that how do we? I don't know.
Well, that's why anytime I see a good debate about that, it's like it's always evolving. Like what we understand is always evolving, and anything that we say is it's what we currently our best understanding of something, and we're always improving and all that, right? What I like to say to like certain family members maybe who don't believe in some really basic stuff that's kind of common sense at this point is science is always trying to prove itself wrong.
Yeah.
A scientist is always trying to prove themselves wrong. That's the whole point of science.
But
is
always
I have this thing I think, now let's prove it wrong, right? And if you can't prove something wrong long enough, it becomes scientific theory. And that's what we consider a fact, right? So that's a completely alien concept to somebody who just lives and breathes religious belief. Because the religious belief is, I'm right, this is the truth, this does not change because God doesn't change or whatever. Yeah. That's an alien concept to, like constantly trying to prove myself wrong. What? That's an alien concept to something like, no, God is forever and he's unchanging and this is all the way it's always been. And, it's like, it's how locked down your thoughts are, your mind is, right?
I did a deep dive into ancient Christianity. And because I realized
also known as Christianity.
Yeah. But I didn't realize I was raised Catholic, and so you sort of assume that it's just been like this for the last 2,000 years, and then you learn about the beliefs of early Christianity and stuff, and it's fucking crazy. It's how different it was, and how it took a few hundred years for some of the stuff that we is just dogma to us to become an actual fact to them. How before, and then so it's it's kind of weird to look back on it. Yeah,
and you had even the people that I know who are incredibly Protestant religious. I was raised Baptist or whatever. I say,
well,
yeah, those idiots, right?
Christian rebels, we call you.
the split off, yeah. They don't even have any. They don't know that the Bible was assembled by committee. Basically, there were all kinds of things that they debated on whether to include this one or that one, and some of them that didn't get in there.
Yeah,
I guarantee you that a lot of Protestant people don't know that the Catholic Bible has 4 extra books that we've never heard of.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't know that until I was way older. I definitely didn't know it as a kid or any of that. Yeah, nobody ever told me that.
We're the first religion that has a bonus material,
right? But then you get the bad Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy crap that is the Mormons. Dude, the fan fiction that they had at the end.
Mormonism and the history of it is the tightest shit ever.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking love these guys.
Yeah.
I didn't have much of an opinion on... I mean, I grew up with a lot of Mormon people, but I didn't know much about the religion until we had to do this podcast about it. Mm-hmm. And then it turned into a 3-part episode that we did because I was like, this is the tightest shit ever. There's an outer dark. That's creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
there's different types of heavens. There's all kinds of... You got a planet.
It's like 1800s sci-fi religion, right? Because the 20th century sci-fi religion is Scientology.
Scientology, yeah.
But how we understood the world, things to be in the 1800s, that's the Mormon version. It's you get your own planet, all the crazy stuff about the Nephites, which all sound kind of like aliens, a certain, because they were there was a tribe of from Israel that went across the land bridge because I guess they knew about the land bridge at the time, and then it went in, and just all the Joseph Smith stuff is great. You've seen that South Park episode, right? You know, it's really, really interesting. And yeah, I grew up with Mormons, and we were like, oh yeah, they're just those weird ones that have the underwear. Like, we didn't know anything specific about, although we would constantly get the commercials saying, hey, check out the Book of Mormon or whatever, but we never like thought about it. But now with the internet, you can read all about it.
Well, the thing that's so interesting about Mormons is that, like, so when you meet them now, for the most part, they really are like just very nice people, very very giving, very whatever. But like the early Mormons were all these just like crazy-eyed psychos who were like frontiersmen, and you had to be insane to be a frontiersman back then.
They're like youth group adults.
Well, they're like youth group adults, but also who could like beat your ass. Like they had to live off the land, and everyone was trying to kill them all the time.
Like Amish levels of stocky.
They were like total badasses, and then
because they fucked those aliens.
I hope someone did. My theory. Here's my theory on Mormons: is that the reason they're as nice as they are is because they were so mistrusted for the first like 100 years of their existence that I think they were just
adaptation.
Like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna adapt. We're gonna not only are we gonna be like we're gonna fully integrate into American society, but we're gonna do it with a fucking smile on our face. We're gonna be so nice to you, and like that. You have to like us. And then over time, it just killing us with kindness. And then over time, it just turned into how they naturally are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They lied to themselves long enough that it became the truth.
It became real. Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I get over a breakup. Like, I don't love her. I don't love her. I don't care. And a year later, you're like, oh yeah, I actually don't.
Fake it till you make it.
Not sad anymore.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you guys about some stuff that bothered me over the last week.
Go.
I was in traffic. There's a lady behind me freaking out. It was one of those right turn lanes and straight, and I wasn't really paying attention. When I commute in the morning, I'm just drinking coffee. I have to go to Highland from here. So I just go through town and drink coffee because it's going to be either an hour on the highway or an hour in the town.
Sure.
So I just squirrely around through the town and try to have a nice drive. We were talking about traffic earlier in this town. This is the first place I ever saw someone taking a Sunday drive. That's unheard of on the East Coast.
No,
nobody
never.
takes a drive for fun.
No.
I saw somebody doing it here in a classic car, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, Texas. He's got his truck. He only drives it on Sundays. That's how I get to work every day. Otherwise, I'm going to be miserable in traffic like our fathers, white-knuckling it on the Beltway, angry at what Rush Limbaugh is telling them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So this lady behind me is freaking out at a light. I was stopped. I didn't turn right. She needed to turn right. She had her signal on too late. She didn't put her signal on. So I didn't know. Otherwise, I would have got over, you know? You see somebody behind you like that that's freaking out, and you're like, you should have used your turn signal.
Yep.
So she's like banging on the wheel and huffing and puffing, and her window's open and my window's open. She's behind me, and she's looking clearly at my face in my passenger rearview mirror, and I go, you need to calm down. And she put her head in her face and her head in her hands and started crying.
Jeez.
And I was like, women don't like to get told calm down by dudes the same way like meth heads don't want to hear it from cops.
No.
Like, it's too late.
Yeah, they really don't like it.
By the time you say calm down, that's probably the worst thing you could have said at that time.
One time I was talking to this girl. I told her to calm down. And she shot me in the head. That's how mad they get.
That'll happen.
Twice.
Yeah.
Two times right in the fucking it's why I'm as good at stand up as I am.
Yeah.
Is that she destroyed a certain part of my brain.
Filter.
Yeah, and that just made me into such a hilarious comedian.
I had a
It
girl
explains everything.
that asked me if I had fucked anyone else when we were breaking up, and I said no comment. And she came at me with these crazy haymakers. And we had been taking boxing together. So in my head, I was
she
like,
knew how to do it?
Yeah, I was like, you forgot all your training. You're not jabbing or anything. She was just overhand haymakers. And
there was no thought. There was no strategy.
She forgot all her training.
But she's pale, and I'm like I am. And I had a buddy that had just been locked up for a month with these guys who said, my girlfriend started hitting me. I was blocking. The cops came. She had bruises. I didn't. So I went to jail.
Oh, shit.
So she's pale girl's hitting me like this, and I'm blocking, and I'm like, she's going to have bruises, and I'm going to get... So I had to jump off the balcony into the creek to get out. She blocked the door like a telenovela. Oh.
Wow. And you escaped in the creek?
Yeah. It was over at IHOP on Mopac, next to the Greenbelt, the Taco Deli.
Okay.
That's the first apartment that I had here. I moved here with a girl. I shouldn't have done that. It was a bad...
But look where it's gotten you now.
Yeah, well, he found himself on don'tdatehimgirl.com because of her. You've heard of that, right?
Heard of what?
Don'tdatehimgirl.com.
Oh, I know. I thought you were making something up.
No, it's like the vindictive ex-girlfriend database of guys.
It was really. It got taken down because some girl put a lawyer on there and he went after them.
Yeah. So, and there was hundreds of thousands of women were on this site.
Whoa.
And it was basically it was a site where they could post their ex-boyfriends saying don't. And I know that there were some legitimate guys that could be put on there that women should avoid, right? We all know that.
Well, no girl should ever date any guy. So yeah. I have a daughter. Sorry.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But obviously there were some who was like he was an asshole, and a lot of exaggeration or making things up or whatever. Yeah. So he found himself because of the girl that he moved here with.
And it was because I was messaging other girls, and one of them found that and said, "Is this you?" And I was like, "Fuck."
Was one of her complaints about you that you're always jumping off balconies into creeks?
He's just trying to get away. He's always trying to get away.
Whenever I ask him a question, he just jumps off the balcony into the goddamn creek.
So then, here's another thing that bothered me this week. We went out for lunch. We had a field day at work. We got to do some field stuff. So we stopped and had lunch at a pretty nice place. We had a Groupon, and the waitress came up and she was like, "Are you guys celebrating anything?" And they were like, "Yeah, Josh might get a promotion." And she was like, "I'm screaming. Congratulations. I hope you get it." And I've seen people write "I'm screaming" on like TikTok or whatever. But I've never had someone verbally say it to my face.
No, I've never. I guess I never have either.
And I was like, "You're not."
No, you're not. You're a liar, is what you are, ma'am. Did you have to speak to the manager? I would have immediately.
And then I saw a dad pushing a trike bike and holding his kid at the same time, and he looked so pissed. And I've been there. Like we got all these dumb guys. His wife. Here's what happened, because this is what happened to me. His wife went on some Montessori site and saw this weird push scooter.
Okay.
It was like, the baby needs this for spatial whatever. And so then you push the baby down the road on it until they scream for you to pick them up, and then you have to walk it back and hold the baby from wherever you're at where the kid didn't want to ride it anymore.
Dang.
So, I mean, I've done it. I've been there. But I never realized. I looked at the dad. He looked super pissed. And I was like, yeah, because you fucking wasted money. But the kid was so happy. He was grinning. Because that's all the kid wants, is to be on dad's level and be up there with the giant.
Sure.
And get held and
walk. I think we forget how big everything is to little kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Being on a midget scooter, like a baby, it's like being a retarded midget in traffic. Like you're right on the curb next to the cars. Your dad's not holding you, and you're just moving on wheels like along with cars. Like, oh my God, what the hell? I just want to be picked up.
Yeah. So
now I understand,
I still say it to my dad.
Daddy,
I just want to be picked up. And he's like, you weigh like 200 and something. And I'm like, well, pick me up, you fucking wuss.
And I was like, don't you lift, bro?
Yeah.
I need to be held right now.
Pat, I'm not actually your dad. I'm just some guy that you know. Why are you calling me your dad? This is getting creepy. I'm just crying.
This is the DMV.
You followed me home from the park. Come on.
This is DPS. You're getting a driver's license.
Fuck yeah, I am.
So we were, Donnie's pet peeve is when a couple say we're pregnant.
Yeah, okay.
That's the worst thing in the world. Oh, so you are two women who have babies growing in your uteruses? Yes.
Yeah.
But it could work if you're the queen.
Yeah. The royal we are pregnant. Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
yeah, the queen could definitely do
or
that.
If you use they them pronouns, then we're
pregnant.
Yeah, I guess
you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you refer basically if you have to refer to yourself as a plural person, right?
Huh.
Yeah.
The royal we are pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Or they them are pregnant. I had to look up a word because of porn. I kept seeing this word, pinay. Pinay.
A-Y. What is that?
It's a Filipino woman.
Oh,
it's like the feminine.
Pinay?
Yeah. I've heard a lot of stuff about
I was scared to look it up. I wasn't sure if I wanted to know what a pinay was.
I've heard a lot of stuff about these Filipino women.
Yeah.
And I can't say I was on a different podcast actually, and they were like, they said something about a Filipino woman. So you know what that means? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of, I guess, things about these women that I know nothing about. So if there's anyone listening who is of Filipino descent, or maybe you just look like you are,
hey, ladies,
hit me up and let's try to figure something out, because I got questions.
Needs to be exposed to the culture.
I need some more. People are always telling me I need more culture in my life.
Yeah.
And now I've decided to follow the Filipino way of life.
You got a podcast to make about it.
Trying to get yourself one of them Pine girls.
Guys, I've had so many podcasts. They've all gone nowhere.
So, we did stand up, 12 years ago now. I got tired. I couldn't. I just got tired of bombing. So I was like, I'm just going to go be on a podcast.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a failed comedian. We watch them all fail over and over again every night.
Right.
You're just supposed to keep failing, failing upwards.
So we did a podcast called Drunkcast. It was on the deck at Don's Depot.
I do remember this actually, and then Ben Sholok showed up.
Yeah.
Why does Ben keep popping up in this podcast?
Peasy was on there. A bunch of people came.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so I was that was for the first 2 or 3 years. I was one of the regulars on that podcast, and
I went on there 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and then they got. I specifically remember they got press passes to Moon Tower. And then Travis, the host, was like all about just bringing on comedians after that. It's like there was one time we had Martin Urbano on, and he was like, "Oh, I'm moving to New York in a couple weeks," and then 6 months later he's on Kimmel.
Yeah,
and we had Doug Mellard on there at one point.
Oh, cool.
And Vanessa Gonzalez was on there, and then towards the end, Avery Moore and Ariel Isaac Norman were regulars on it.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah. So it was really fun, but they kind of stopped doing it right before COVID, and they changed the name of the show to Content Pending and all that. I still talk to Travis every once in a while, but I think he's since COVID, he's pretty much just locked himself in his house like most people.
Fair enough.
Done.
A lot of people who used to do stand up or podcasts or things like that. Yeah, they all, not all of them, but a lot of them stopped doing it after. I think the pandemic, what was interesting about it is that it gave a lot of, I'm not saying this is what happened with him, but it gave a lot of people excuses to quit.
Right.
Where it's like, you can't, if someone stops doing comedy, like people are like, you fucking believe this? They quit? What the fuck? Like, and so this kind of gave, I think, some people a non-judgmental way to just sort of just not come back.
I got COVID last month from Port Aransas, from a pizza buffet full of children touching all the slices. They had it was all Trump flags in the parking lot.
Sure.
And children touching stuff, and I was like, I didn't even know there was a resurgence or whatever. Or I got yelled at online for saying that. It's not a pandemic anymore. It's an endemic now, and it's been here all along or whatever. I don't care. I didn't get it for 4 years, so I stopped getting boosters. I thought it was chilled out. It was the worst. I didn't get it the first time. This is my first time getting COVID was last month.
Oh, okay.
So I had 5 different days of nausea, aches, diarrhea, headache, weakness. It was like a variety pack of fun.
Okay.
Until the end when I just had sniffles, and I was like, okay, I'm going to time travel with NyQuil to 3 days from now.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it'll be over. But I still now, ever since then, I wake up, everything hurts. I think it kick-started my being old. Like, you hear about being old, you wake up and everything hurts and it sucks, and that hadn't happened yet. But I think long COVID for me is now that I'm just old and everything hurts.
Yeah, maybe.
So I might as well just drink and have a hangover.
Right. No, it's not you getting older. It's COVID. That's what it is. No, I get what you're saying.
Have you heard about Bangladesh? What's happening in Bangladesh right now?
Bangladesh. What happened? Was there...
Cops are shooting the people.
For what?
There's a work riots about... There's government jobs and there's a quota, and they've been sitting on a couple of them and not filling them, like 50 positions, and everybody... The college students got mad and protested in the streets. It was a protest until it moved into the right-of-way, and then it became a demonstration, and the cops started shooting them. So there's pictures of spray paint where it's like, who do you call when the cops murder?
Who watches the watchman?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so last week they shut down the entire internet, so nobody knows what's even going on with anybody in the whole country.
It's crazy that there's countries where there's just no internet.
Yeah.
Isn't China like that, or don't they?
China has that you can only be on their internet. You can't get out to the outside world from China. That's what they call it, the Great Firewall. They have their technology their technology is so they have everything locked down so much that there's a Chinese version of chat. There's a Chinese version of social media, Facebook type things. There's so many things. They're completely isolated from the rest of the world.
You're looking at your monitor and then it slants down.
Yeah.
What about Domino's Pizza? Is that still available?
Maybe
Domino's.com.
It's probably the Chinese version of Domino's, a completely different thing.
I'll look at
Mahjong.
Yeah,
don't worry. I'll figure it out.
Mahjong pizza. It's like Domino's.
Yeah, it's Baccarat pizza.
No, I had friends in the hurricanes in St. John's that everything went down, and we just had to wait.
Dang.
To hear if they were alive for a couple of days.
Jesus.
Because the whole shit got ravaged, and it was, then Facebook chimed in 3 days later, and they were saying, we will rebuild. And I was like, okay, he's alive. That's good.
What do you call
But their
people?
bar was gone. Like, all the beach bars that they went to were just completely gone.
So do you call people from Bangladesh? Are they
Bangladeshi?
Is that what it is?
I
I
think
just realized I have
Bangladeshi.
no idea what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, shout out to all the Bangladeshis.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, gang?
Yeah, I
Hope you guys are doing okay.
Hope you're doing okay. Hope you were not shot by your own police force. That
I
would
don't
suck.
understand how 50 government jobs turned into a college protest, turned into fucking martial law. But, yeah, it escalated.
Well, again, Domino's. Just a different kind this time.
I mean, you've seen those
No,
people
not
arguing.
quite as delicious kind.
It's like those two guys arguing in traffic on YouTube. Fuck you, push it, baggy, butter,
Yeah.
butter.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It escalates quickly.
Go take fuck.
Have
Yeah.
you seen the Trip movies with Steve Coogan?
I know what they
Greece,
are.
Trip
I've seen
to-
like clips of it. Is that the one where they're doing dueling Michael Caine's or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen all of it.
This is my comedy dream, to have a show where I just drive around with my friends and talk shit and travel. I mean, it's like comedians in cars getting coffee, but it's just two pros that have been friends. They're giving each other shit about their careers and who's gotten what award and stuff. But they go to Greece, they go to Italy. I think these are the best comedy movies of all time. I'm sure some of it's staged, but then they also eat really good food and they do foodie stuff.
They kind of play themselves, right?
Yeah, they're just having an awesome time, and it's on camera.
And it's for some reason a movie.
Yeah. Somebody found these two guys, and it looks like they would have been doing this anyway, and they put a camera on it, and they're like, this is great.
Dang.
We need to document this. But there's four of them. There's The Trip, which is in northern England, then Trip to Greece, Trip to Italy, Trip to Spain. They're all on different streamers, but I wish they put them all in one place.
Someone needs to document all the cool stuff I do. I do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Today, I woke up, so already pretty goddamn cool.
Girls get it done.
Yep. I drank some coffee. I ate a bagel. And then I did some stuff on the computer, which, while it does it look exciting? No. Does it feel exciting? No. And then I came here. So I feel like...
I bet you said some cool stuff. You probably talked some shit to your coffee or whatever.
No.
Donnie,
No, I
yells
try-
at inanimate objects in here all day long.
Yeah.
No, I try to reserve my rage for, things that are flesh and blood.
Yeah. See, that's my thing, is that I turn my rage at things that are flesh and blood onto inanimate objects when they act like pieces of shit and refuse to cooperate.
Yeah.
I was telling them the other day that like the only thing that would make like bashing my coffee table with a baseball bat when I stub my toe on it feel better would be if it cried afterwards.
There you go.
That's how I don't do. That's how I don't go to jail.
Take that
That's
one
how
to
I
the
don't do
next
that to
open mic.
people. Is I just do it to my coffee table.
Maybe you
Yeah.
could like get like a sampler and like sample a bunch of different sounds of humans crying in pain. You could
I mean, we have the technology.
We
right?
do. You could do that very
We could
easily.
do this. Yeah.
There's
yeah.
large trash pickup once a month around here. People out in Circle C put nice furniture out on the curb. Just take the truck and go pick it up. We smash it in the backyard and pretend it's yours.
And then
Yeah.
what we could also do
Like
is we
office
could also
space.
use those bats on those people too. So we not only do we
Bangladeshi people?
destroy, not only do we destroy their furniture, we also destroy their futures.
Yeah, we're taking
fuck.
it back. It's like it's how we that's the form that the revolution is going to have to take, because the proletariat will never rise up. You know, we have to be the ones that go. We have to go into Circle C and we have to teach them a lesson with
Fuck
their own
yeah.
furniture.
Sure. Well, look, I guarantee you, one of those people did something bad in their life.
Yeah.
So they probably deserve to be
Yeah.
beaten in public with a baseball bat.
I mean, their stocks are paying for like slavery in
seen-
China, making iPhones and
Yeah.
stuff. Like we could justify it easily.
You're making a pretty
Yeah.
solid case.
Easily justify.
You guys
it.
are basically quoting scripture. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory
Yeah.
and they deserve.
Fuck
we're-
yeah,
we're
we
gonna
are.
Yeah, they deserve to die. And I hope they burn in hell.
We're gonna force that camel through the eye of that needle, one way or
shit.
another. One way or another.
So
You know-
Donnie saw Deadpool last night.
Oh, I'm seeing it
Yeah, speaking
tomorrow
of
with
those
my
things,
brother
yeah.
Kevin.
Okay, no spoilers.
Kevin Dean.
Would you say it good? Yes.
I thought it was good, and there was a lot of cool Wolverine stuff that we haven't gotten to see yet, even though we've
cool.
had so many Wolverine movies. There was a lot of neat comic book Wolverine stuff.
Well,
yeah.
the thing with Wolverine is that like he's a really good Wolverine, but he's only been in like 2 good actual movies as Wolverine. Like
All I wanted when I was little was a Wolverine movie, and now there's like 8 of them.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. I mean, I grew up a huge comic book guy. Still am a big comic book guy. So it's cool to see. But yeah, it's kind of weird that it took as long as it did. Because he came out in 1975, I think, Wolverine, and the first X-Men movie was like 25 years later. It's kind of weird it took that long.
I got back into comics during COVID because it was. I mean, I would have got back into comedy when the rule is. So I took a break to raise children, and now now they're perfect, so I can do comedy again. I finished raising
You've
them.
just done.
Yeah. So, what I hear from other parents is that when your youngest turns 8, you can get your hobbies back. My youngest turned 8 during COVID, so I just started playing guitar and collecting comics. I got into Saga, Low. Have you heard of Low?
Oh, Saga's amazing. Low, I don't know if I know that one.
It's like Saga. It's everybody has to live under the ocean because the sun's burning everything, and it's way in the future.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Really cool.
Who made it?
Greg. No, I'll send it to you. It's some Italian guy. It's every frame is painted really nicely.
Oh, cool.
It's really good style. And I got Berserker that Keanu Reeves won.
I got into Monstrous around that time.
What is Monstrous?
Oh my god, it has some of the most amazing art.
The Last God was good.
Yeah, Last God has really amazing art. There's a lot of those. Yeah, I'll show you some Monstrous.
Fuck yeah!
And then I got into Mobius. Back into Mobius.
Yeah.
Some collected stuff from big thick ones from Amazon just to look at it. But then it ends up being pretty good. And what's the guy's Hard Boiled Samurai Cowboy Greg? He's super hyper detailed. He did Big Guy and Rusty.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember his name right now. It's Gary or Greg something. But he does.
Oh, it's Gary Sinise.
Yes,
the actor.
exactly. Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan himself. Yeah.
So apparently Ryan Reynolds is going to. We're getting into nerd news now. Sorry.
Sure.
Ryan Reynolds was in talks to do a Dragon's Lair movie. That might work.
Recently, like that's the thing though, is that they're for 25 years I've been reading rumored movies starring certain people. So like, there was a Dungeons and Dragons movie rumored forever. And then a crappy one came out.
Yeah, I remember that
one.
And
then they worked that new Dungeons and Dragons movie, which is awesome.
I didn't see the new one.
I rewatched it the other night while I was putting up these shelves. I've added some shelves to the studio here. But I saw it when it came out on streaming, and I thought it was really good. And I went back and watched it just now, and I was like, I just forgot how good it is. It's really well. It's almost an Edgar Wright movie.
Okay.
It's almost that tight of a script.
I'll have to check it out then.
Yeah, it's really good.
You know what movie, even though it shouldn't have been, because it was so just they got everything about, not everything, but they got a lot about the character wrong, is what's really good is that fucking Keanu Reeves, John Constantine.
Yeah, the Constantine, the Keanu Reeves Constantine was a really good movie.
I mean, it's way different from how it should be. I get why there's nerds who don't like it because he's American and not British, but in the movie, but it's fucking great.
Jeff Darrow and Frank Miller did Hard Boiled.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of a Blade Runner-esque
Frank Miller,
who might be a robot or not.
Crazed comic book creator Frank Miller.
Yeah, did you see that movie that he just made about himself called American Genius? It was here. He came here with Rose, whatever the hot girl from Sin City.
Is that real? American Genius?
I mean, he participated in it. I don't know. I would, if they were going to make a movie about me, I'd ask them not to call it that.
Yeah, you'd call it American Super
But he's
Genius.
also going to die in a month. So
yeah, he's not well. I think he has cancer or something.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any reason to make a Dragon's Lair movie. You could just post a speed run of the game. It's a well animated cartoon.
It's a cartoon, yeah. I mean, I remember going to do you remember Dark Horizons, the website that was all movie nerd news and rumors and all that?
No, I don't believe so.
There was this was late 90s, early 2000s. There was always there's a rumored Spider-Man movie directed by James Cameron.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you would I've been following these rumors of all these things for so many years that now anytime I see especially on social media, hype for something that's coming out, I'm like, is this actually going to happen or not? Because we know how development hell goes and all that, right?
Wasn't Dragon's Lair Ralph Bakshi or Bloom Animation? It was the same people that did American Tail, I think. They animated the arcade game.
Have they ever made a Pong movie?
Just Wimbledon. Just watch.
Yeah, tennis.
They go back and forth. So did you ever go to Linda Carter's house in Langley? You know she lived there? Wonder Woman?
No. I know that Michael Jordan had a home there. I didn't know that Linda Carter did.
Is that her name? I get it wrong.
Yeah,
Linda Carter is Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
original
she
Wonder
lives
Woman.
in Langley. She has a horse ranch.
Don Bluth, by the way, was the Dragon's Lair. You were right.
Yeah. So
I wish I knew that. I would have went over to hang out with her.
we stopped there by accident on the way home from D.C. because we had to piss so bad. I had to piss so bad. We used to go downtown all the time. It's 40 minutes from Reston. And when you're 21, you're drinking, you don't want to break the seal because then you have to pee all the time. You're trying to talk to a girl.
Yeah.
So I didn't break the seal the whole time, and then we got in the car and came home, and it was just burning. And then I peed when I got home, and from that point on, for like 5 years, if I had to pee, I had to pee immediately.
Oh, wow.
I broke my buffer window of you don't really have to pee yet, whatever that is. So we were driving home after that, just me and my buddy Matt, and I was like, "Oh, I got to pee right now. Got to pull over." So I pulled over in Langley, got out of the truck, started peeing by the car, and his horse came up, and my buddy was passed out, and his window was open. He like opened the window and looked at the stars and passed out with the wind. So I was peeing behind the car. The horse came up and put its head in the car, because he was snoring. So I think the horse was curious. He woke up drunk at Wonder Woman's driveway to a horse in his face going, and he was like, "God, what the fuck?"
Jeez.
And I was peeing, so I turned, I peed on the horse, and I peed on the electric fence.
Oh, no.
It was just an immediate disaster. Everything went wrong at once.
Don't whiz in the electric fence.
Luckily, we got out of there before we got arrested by Wonder Woman's security team.
Do you know, so in Northern Virginia, there's a few different urban legends.
Yeah.
Do you know about Midgetville?
No, I know about the Bunny Man.
The Bunny Man Bridge, yeah,
He
is
got
a
shot
famous
by that
one.
guy. He had a salt gun.
It's a famous one. So Midgetville was this place in
China,
Vienna, Vienna in Northern Virginia, where it was I've heard various reasons for why this would be, but
to the end of a rainbow.
There was gold coins everywhere. It was so basically it's a bunch of like homes that are like smaller than normal.
Yeah.
And so the stories that came from that are, it's a place where a bunch of retired circus workers went to. There was one where there was a train wreck, and the only survivors were the little people in the fucking circus. So they moved there, and it turns out
Munchkins
that
from Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
it turns out it was they just built those houses a long time ago,
Yeah.
and so that's why they're as small as they are.
Yeah.
But it turned into this thing where people would like drive there because they're like that's where all the midgets live, and so they'd go there, and the people who live there were not happy about this. They would like chase you out, and they got very mad at you. But
that probably
like
creates even more urban legends.
Yeah, almost
about
like there was some secret they were hiding.
Yeah.
The pot of gold.
Well,
Was Virginia where the Mothman thing happened, or was that like
It could have been southern.
I think
it was somewhere in that area.
The Mothman was that New Jersey?
Well, that was the
New Jersey
Devil.
Devil. Yeah, maybe it did happen in that area.
I feel like it was like Falls Church or something.
It was
Falls Church.
plantation type thing.
West Virginian Point Pleasant is where it was.
Oh, I don't know what that
Virginia?
is.
In West Virginia, yeah.
Oh,
West Virginian
Sounds like something
folklore.
you come
yeah.
up with on too much moonshine.
Here's my
I seen a Mothman.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it was.
excuse
yeah, it was
me,
West
I'm
Virginia.
from West Virginia.
Trying to fuck my sister in this moth. gun.
Where's the caviar? I'm from West Virginia.
It's mid-Atlantic-ish.
That's the thing that's so weird is that West Virginia is like the banging your sister backwards coal miners, whatever. But they're the ones who broke off from Virginia to stay in the Union.
Yeah, they didn't want
That
slavery.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and now when you go there, it's just all Confederate flags everywhere.
Yeah, right.
You're
There's a
like,
lot of
how
stuff about
fucking
West
dumb are you
Virginia that
people?
doesn't make any sense. We used to have
Right.
to go there to get bongs and porn.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have it in Virginia. That's where all the bachelor parties were. I have a 14-year-old daughter, so this morning I came down and asked her what the fuck a glizzy is. And she was like, it's a hot dog. And I was like, I know it's a hot dog, but I thought it was something special about it, like it's a cheesy hot dog. And she's like, no. And she's texting her friend, like I know all her friends because I drive them around all the time.
Sure.
And her friend was like, can you put him down, please? It's time for him to die. And I was like, yo, I don't have a Costco card, but I can get you in for a glizzy on the low. And he was like, please make him stop. Please make the old man stop saying glizzy.
Yeah, saying slang words to young kids will never not be hilarious.
Yeah.
But they get so mad.
Yeah, that's ours. You're not allowed to say. I'm gonna just start busting.
That's how you ruin slang though. Yeah. That is the cycle of slang. Is the kids start saying it and their parents start saying it to piss them off, so they stop saying it. That's like the cycle of how it all goes, right?
Next time I have to drive them around, it's just gonna be Bill and Ted's the whole time. Not bogus. Everything
Tubular,
Everything gets so
radical.
mad.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I have I have 13 children.
Yeah.
And they're all the same age. And I just constantly am using slang to them. They get so pissed off.
Such a pimp, you fucked 13 girls.
13 different women
day.
on the same weekend. Yeah. And they're
You're
all,
having a
they're all
bratty
named
summer.
Patrick.
That
All
was
of my
Patrick's
kids.
brat boy summer.
Hey, man, what can I say? That was one heck of a weekend. It cost me a lot of money in the long run. I'll tell you this.
2011.
As fun
Summer
as
2011 was a lot of fun.
As fun as it sounds, I do not recommend impregnating 13 different women at the same time. It really leads to a lot of complications, both emotionally and financially. That, to be honest with you, I'm still sort of paying the repercussions from.
Yeah, and this is 50 years from now, there's going to be a midget town in Texas where they all live.
I'm going to found a new one because they tore down.
Get off my
property. They tore down all of those small houses, so they're not there anymore. Maybe I can start a new colony here or something.
So Donnie said he doesn't like. We were talking about the new Crow movie, of course, and it's got not Dua Lipa, FKA Twigs.
FKA Twigs, yeah.
He's like, I don't like her. Her mouth is stupid.
Yeah.
So we started attributing personality features to body parts.
Sure.
Her ears are retarded. I don't like her.
Yeah.
And then last night, my wife hit me with, she doesn't like Ben Affleck because he has an untrustworthy chin. For Batman, I mean, it's important to have a trustworthy chin.
You got to trust that chin.
What
right?
did you guys think about Ben Affleck as Batman?
It's bad.
The movie was bad, but
Anything they did after Christian Bale was so just Nolan.
I actually didn't mind Affleck as Batman,
as
kind of a Dark Knight Returns-ish style Batman, but that movie was so bad around it that I didn't care.
Robert
Okay,
Rodriguez and Frank Miller had already done 2 good movies together. Why could they not just do TDKR?
The thing is that so the movies are bad. However, the thing with him is that I kind of like a kind of older, borderline functioning alcoholic Bruce Wayne that he did. And the thing I also liked about it is you could actually see what's happening in his Batman fights, as opposed to Christopher Nolan, which is using camera angles from all over. And you don't. That
was
know
the
what's
one
going
thing
on.
that whenever he had to bust into that warehouse,
that
and
was
save,
so cool.
What's her name? His mom.
It was so bright. You saw everything,
and it reminded me a lot of the Arkham games, actually, like the Arkham Asylum and all those Batman games where you're.
Yeah,
you know that
you hit a button for the guy behind you and the guy in front of you.
Yeah, and it was
had the really good
it was
line.
like how it was a perfect illustration of how a Batman fight would go according to the comics.
And he had his not the batarang, but the fucking cable that he would use to
the grapple hook.
Yeah, he would use that offensively. Yeah, I kind of liked it. The movies are very bad.
Well, if they had to exist for us to get Flash saying "What's your power?" and him going "I'm rich," that was good.
Yeah.
That justified a lot of it. The Justice League defied a lot of it.
I went and saw Batman versus Superman with my friend Jason, he's been a guest on the show. He's way into comics, always has been. And about halfway through Batman versus Superman, I just leaned over. It's like, so Batman just kills people now?
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, he just kills people in that movie.
He kills people, multiple people.
Yeah, he didn't kill people even in The Dark Knight Returns, right? He was a little more brutal in The Dark Knight Returns, but he
the Joker won from Dark Knight.
Yeah,
I'm going to make you break your rule 2 movies from now.
Yeah, right.
And start killing people.
So on the subject, what is your favorite comic book movie of all of them?
Okay, so if we're talking about superhero comic books, I would still have to say the original Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock.
Okay, yeah,
that was that was a very, very good.
Yeah, it was the Empire Strikes Back of that.
Yeah, it was so fucking good. And then, as far as just something that's
based off the comic format,
off the comic book, geez, I don't know. I would have to think about that. A non-superhero comic book. Well, I'll tell you this. They're apparently adapting Ed Brubaker's criminal comic book. Okay. I don't know if you ever read that.
No, I didn't.
But it is fucking good. Okay. And I'm looking forward to that if that happens.
Have you been to the new shop, Bat City and Brody?
I've passed it.
Yeah.
Is that new?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering if it was new. Because I passed by it, and I was like, I feel like I would know that there was a comic book store here.
You can park at Daiso, this side of Brody, and walk around to that strip mall without doing the whole Mopac, Ben White, Oak Hill U-turn bullshit.
Sure.
So it's easy to get to. It's nice. They have a lot of printed posters of famous comic book covers that you won't find anywhere else.
Oh, okay, that's fucking rad.
They got a rack of those, and they're all $8 because they made them all themselves. But yeah, Comic-Con is happening currently. Have you been paying attention to any of the news?
No.
Usually it's a big deal. There's going to be a boys spin-off. There's some, and then the Olympics is happening.
It's called the girls.
Yeah. The they, thems. It's the we're pregnant.
Theys, yeah.
The boys are pregnant. And there's going to be a Rick and Morty anime. I don't know. I haven't heard any comic book news from a Comic-Con.
There never is.
Yeah.
It's always
It's all
movies.
trailers.
Well, that's what it's basically become nerd pop culture con.
But
is what it
sometimes
is.
they'll have people there where you're like, why are you here? Like, this
Yeah.
isn't nerdy. Like,
Right,
what?
Yeah, it's just a cultural thing now. It's like a pop culture thing now. It's definitely not what it was in the 90s.
No.
And also the entire comic book industry is not what it was. I mean, it's
It's completely different.
I mean, we could talk for hours about the issues facing the comic book industry, but I mean, the big one now is that all the kids that I know, who was always the people pushing, like they were the base of the comic customers, right? They were kids,
Yeah.
at least historically. All the kids now are reading manga.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And that is the new comic industry. It's all coming from over.
We're all
from
salary
Japan
boys
and all
now.
that,
And the comic book industry over the past couple of years has actually been doing better than it was. I think because they've embraced manga and they've embraced digital stuff. And I
They're
think
all
that's,
American geniuses.
They're all. That's the. Yeah, they are all. Even the ones who aren't American.
Those are
Yeah.
the real G's.
especially the ones who aren't American.
The Grant Morrisons
Yeah.
of the world.
Speaking of American geniuses, Snoop
British
Dogg
bastard.
carried the torch for the Olympics today or yesterday.
I saw that. Yeah.
Which huge missed opportunity for him not to turn it to the side and do like a
do a
joint
bomb.
Well, I mean, I kind of assumed he did.
or light a
He didn't
bowl.
do that.
Yeah,
That
it wouldn't even be funny. It would be so on the nose. Like, of course. They have
He's
to-
so disrespectful. It would rule so.
but
Imagine
everything-
getting the opportunity to do that at the Olympics and then just use it.
You're like,
Like, it'd just be so shitty. It'd be so shitty.
I mean, everything else they did was really weird too. They could have saved a ton of money on the opening ceremonies and just put a big sign up in Paris that said "We're gay."
Yeah, I heard
Like,
that
it
the
was
opening.
just a lot of flowery, dramatic.
Well, there's
I
lots
heard
of
that
there
it
was
was.
lots of there's
Proof that
drag
they're gay.
queens. There's all kinds of things. And number one, like it's France.
Yeah.
If they're gonna do like crazy mimes and
Yeah.
and performances and things like that. So I see all the right wingers and all whatever they're mad about, and they are very mad about the opening ceremonies from last night because apparently they took all the drag queens and they did like a portmanteau of like the Last Supper,
Yeah.
painting or whatever. So now they're
Sure, yeah.
they're all angry about.
And there's a
about
They're
drag-
trying to make you mad. They're French.
I know. They're like, did
know
you
it's
to make you so mad, you know?
Do you know the history of
Do
France?
you not
is-
like it?
Yeah, the history of France is them getting
Yeah.
really mad at religion and
Yeah.
guillotining people.
Yeah.
Like
Troll
they're
everybody.
doing this. They're the original trolls. That's
Yeah.
what they do.
They had to delete a scene from it because one of the drag guys' testicles was showing.
Really?
They really went balls out on the performance.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I saw a screenshot of it. I was like, "Show me proof. I don't believe you. Let me see the ball. I want to look at it." Our sweet, precious summer princess queen, Cara Dune. What's her name?
Oh, yeah. What's
the
the MMA girl?
her name. I know who you're talking about. Her.
Yeah. We're big
The one
supporters
who's,
of
the
Oh,
one who's suing.
Cassandra Lowens is her name.
I can never remember her name.
Gina
We have
Carano.
Yeah, Gina.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah,
keep,
Gina Carano.
we get action figures of her. We get every piece of because we feel like it's limited edition now because Disney got rid of all
Yes,
of
they
it.
got rid of the character, right?
Yeah.
So
and also,
anytime
it's conflating. Yeah, it's conflating all the political shit fight stuff and Star
anytime
Wars.
I see
and-
Cara Dune in a bargain bin, I'm like, "Ooh, treasure! The bobblehead. It'll
Oh,
be
that's
$1
hilarious.
million in the future."
yeah, we.
But she won. She won her lawsuit.
No, she didn't win her lawsuit. She just didn't. It didn't get knocked. It didn't get dismissed
She
by the
tweeted,
judge.
I'm
So,
literally screaming right now.
basically, the Disney. She's trying to sue Disney for some type of First Amendment discrimination thing.
Okay.
Right. Because she was a stupid right winger on Twitter saying stupid shit to piss people off, and eventually it got enough.
Well,
to
I mean,
where-
she compared having to wear a mask with Holocaust victims.
Right.
I
Well, no,
mean,
she-
it's like
That's
she-
hilarious. What's the problem?
Well, look, no one's saying it's not hilarious. We're just saying that.
But there was other things too. She made fun of pronouns. She was just being a Trump supporting type person on Twitter to stir the pot, right? And so finally, she said something that Disney was able to use as the last straw to just get rid of her. She was, it's too more trouble than it's
It's a
worth,
headache,
right?
yeah.
So now she's suing for some type of employment discrimination, whatever. They said, "Hey, this is our First Amendment right, our right to associate with who we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on some technicality or reason, the judge said, well, I'm not going to throw it out. You have to prove your case. So now it's going to go to trial. So obviously, Gina Carano has totally just won. She's amazing. She totally took it to the woke Disney people.
Fuck
and,
yeah.
Her name makes me
and
hungry
we're gonna
for
and now
meatballs.
Cara Dune is gonna come back to the Mandalorian, and
Yes,
it's going to, she's
finally.
gonna get her job back.
The best part of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, she was
the former MMA fighter.
So-
She was bad in The
bad.
Mandalorian. Her acting was terrible in The Mandalorian.
She was
in
going
the
to be
second
in the
one.
new show, The Horrors of the New Republic. Or
yeah,
whatever.
right,
And she was going to be surprised related to Leia Organa somehow.
right,
Eventually.
right. So what I like to do is I like to collect things that are the worst Star Wars. So we have the toy, because there's been so much bad. Like the vast
bet.
majority of Star Wars is bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Cheap
yeah.
habit. It's all in the
Yeah.
bottom of the bargain bin.
But the thing that sucks about that is like the first two Star Wars movies are some of the greatest movies of all time. Which I'm stuck with having to pay attention to Star
Sure.
Wars, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I have the toy over here of the Chewbacca Life Day outfit from the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, wow.
The first terrible
Yeah,
Star
yeah.
Wars thing
The
from
one that he's embarrassed about,
1978,
yeah.
right? And then we have a Cara Dune bobblehead over here because it's
You
the,
do? That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, so it's the
Holy shit. She looks so pissed.
yeah,
She's our patron saint.
right,
Amazing.
We're fully in support of.
right.
Did you see the Hunter Biden movie that she was in?
Was there? I know she was in a western because she went and started doing shit for for Ben Shapiro's.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay.
That's all she could do.
yeah, I mean,
She's like Roseanne.
right, yeah,
Whatever.
So
Gavin
there
McInnes.
was some guy. I don't quite know who this dude is, but he's some sort of English right-wing provocateur. And so he made this movie. He stars as Hunter Biden, and it's supposed to be like a hit piece kind of.
right.
Do any
And so you
karate
go
it?
in to watch it, and you're like, I just watched it because I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. I want to see what this is like.
Yeah.
And it is a oddly sympathetic portrayal of Hunter Biden. And I don't know if they meant to do it, but like they do a thing in it where it's like you kind of feel for Hunter Biden,
Yeah.
where it's like,
My Son Hunter.
yeah,
is that the
it's-
name of it?
Yeah, and so the guy they have playing Joe Biden pops up, and he's the guy who plays Joe Biden is like, it's more of a hit piece on Joe Biden than anything else. Hunter is just a guy who just seems to not know what's going on. And
Gary
is
Busey.
addicted to drugs and has like a dead brother and shit. So that's not good. And so, I mean, Hunter Biden, if you think, like, all his siblings are dead. Like, he has a very strange life, and
Yeah.
so it's
So he
again
should be able to rape whatever he wants.
very sympathetic, and
Right.
I think people should watch it because Cara Dune's in it. She's
'Cause
like a
it was-
narrator.
okay, so because it's ostensibly made to show the corruption of the Biden family, but yeah, I'm
just
reading
feel bad
here
for
it.
him.
It comes out saying it's one of those which has been happening a lot lately, where the people who make the movie or the TV show think that they're showing you their agenda,
Yeah.
but what it actually is showing you is like, this isn't saying what you think it's saying. It's
Yeah,
saying something different,
exactly.
right? And that's the same kind of thing about like the problem that I have with the last few seasons of The Boys, is they really think they're taking it to the Trump people. Like, isn't Trump dumb? We're going to make the villains say the exact same things that the Trump people in real life are saying or whatever.
Yeah.
But whenever, if you have like an understanding, if you maybe are around a lot of Trump people or whatever, they're kind of showing that they don't really understand the motivations behind a lot of that kind of stuff, especially this most recent season, where they're basically lifting things out of the headlines and having the bad guys say the things in the headlines, you know?
Yeah, they don't show. That's a really good way of putting it. That they don't understand the people that they're critiquing.
Like last season, you've watched all The Boys, right? Last season there was the stepdad of what's his name, Mother's Milk,
Milk's
and
daughter, or whatever.
he's taking her to like Trump rally type thing, right wing kind of things. But there's no like, he just is a dumb Trump guy. There's no like, he doesn't seem like realistic for that character. Like his motivation doesn't seem. It's just the story needs him to be a dumb Trump guy, so we're just going to have him be a Trump guy.
There's
right?
Maybe that Civil War movie does it. I haven't seen it. I don't really plan on seeing it. But there's been really no attempt by anybody making movies or shows or whatever to be like, okay, so these are Trump supporters. Why are they like this?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And there's no interest in doing that. I think they just want to vilify. And I fucking hate that guy. So I don't feel bad for anybody who gets made fun of for supporting him.
Right.
But I do think that it would at least be interesting to be like, hey, here's why these people feel that way. You know, instead of reducing it down to just a thing.
Well, and the same thing in the second season of The Boys, where you had Stormfront, right?
Yeah.
And she starts off, I guess, kind of disingenuous, pretending to be anti-corporate and more like on the liberal side.
Yeah.
And then a few episodes in, she just switches and starts saying Nazi stuff.
Yeah.
And like with no explanation, and now everybody is suddenly on board with her being a Nazi, and then it shows you these memes that are getting shared. These like Nazi pro Stormfront memes, and they're terrible memes. They don't make the one thing that I can say about the right-wing Trump people is their memes are good. Like they're funny. Like they can be really funny with their memes, and these are just like dumb, lame memes.
Almost French level troll.
Yeah, for a long time, right-wing people were very, very, very bad at any kind of political humor, and they're still bad at political humor, but their memes are better.
I think the people who write The Boys, Eric Kripke and all those people, they're in a bubble. They're in that like Hollywood bubble, and they don't really get the other side enough to make an engaging character or story of those people, right?
Yeah.
All I want them to do is make a gory superhero show. Just do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be social commentary right now.
What's weird is the comic book that it's based on fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I think it's really bad.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at it.
I think it sucks. And
It's very sophomoric.
it's just like
kind of.
it's crazy that it lasted for like 70 issues. It was around for forever.
Is it Warren Ellis?
It's Garth Ennis.
Garth
name.
Ennis.
Yeah.
Garth Ennis,
and a guy named Derek Robinson.
Right.
I think is his name.
Garth Ennis did Preacher too, right?
He's done a lot of really good stuff.
And
so
Preacher's
it's
really good.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that was.
But yeah, The Boys was more of just a kind of like snot-nosed punk kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna make it.
What if Superman said "fuck"?
Yeah, it was that kind of thing, and that's why
Superman in my comic says "fuck."
And that's why the first season of The Boys was pretty refreshing, because it was an interesting take on the idea.
It was, yeah,
and it was better than the comic in a lot of people's opinion, right?
I think it still is.
And then I watched Thelma. Thelma's about an old lady that gets 10 grand stole from her and then goes to go get it back in L.A. because she doesn't understand the internet. She gets scammed online. And she had a line that I'm going to start using. It's the same thing, Donna, you and I have been talking about with our parents. At what point are they old where they need to, or when we're old, do we need to stop doing stuff and just chill out and go sit down?
Yeah.
You know, you're concerned for your older friends and parents and stuff, and they're driving.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And you're like, who's going to tell them to just get ready to die? Like, what's next? They're desperately grasping for straws of validity. I can still do stuff. So she gets on a rascal and goes across LA, and everybody's trying to stop her. And she says, one time this guy tried to get in her way, and she was like, just be a doll and don't make a fuss. I was like, I'm going to use that anytime I have opposition in my life from now on.
Be a doll and don't make a fuss.
Just be a doll and don't make a fuss. And then I watched Twisters. Twisters, this girl, of course, her friends got killed by a hurricane at the beginning, or a tornado or whatever, so she's all sad the whole time.
Does she become friends with Twisters by the end?
She's traumatized by the movement of air. So, like, you can't even fart around her. She'll start crying. Somebody sneezed and she pissed her pants.
No, what it is, it's the son of the Twister from the first movie. And it's going after Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton's child.
Ruins Midget Town.
It's
completely.
No!
You've seen Jaws 4, right? It's the Jaws 4 of tornadoes.
Okay. That just follows you from coast to coast. Yeah.
And then it roars at you.
Amazing.
When you kill it.
I have a couple more fun things. We'll try to get through them real quick. Sorry. I'll put all the jokes at the end. My wife won't take the trash all the way out because she has to put a bra on. So I come home from work and there's trash like blocking the door. So then I have to take it before I can come home from work. She doesn't mean to do it that way. She just puts it out because she doesn't want to put a bra on. And it's now I give her shit for it because I'm like, I'm almost home from work. I just want to come home, and now I got to
take out the garbage. Yeah.
She's like, well, do you want me out in the neighborhood with my titties out all over the place? And I'm like, yeah, you raise morale. That's great. I'd rather not have to. If you got to show some nip to a neighbor, for me not to have to walk this bag around the corner when I'm done with my commute.
At least you get invited to a lot more dinner parties.
Yeah, I'll take it. Sure, get your titties out. Just do something. Anything. JD Vance had sex with a couch, apparently.
Yep.
This guy keeps being my brother.
This guy rules.
Yeah, he had a gay dream when he was little. He does all the same shit as me. I have 10 minutes about fucking a couch. That was like my old set at the Velve.
That's
12
hilarious.
years ago. So
lots of people have fucked couches. I've
my
known like
Eskimo
multiple people.
brother of No, I put a Ziploc bag in it between the cushions.
That's what I'm saying. Like I've known. That's a little.
Like I'm a MacGyvered it.
Okay, yeah, that's that's a little worrisome. But yeah, I know. Like
I didn't know what a vagina felt like. It was all conjecture.
Just guessing. Well, if it feels anything like this couch, I'm set for life.
Well, then there was another one about like having sex with a dolphin that he like searched for in his porn. There's basically they're trying to sink him with things that basically are just gonna make the dudes who are already gonna vote for him more like hell yeah, brother. You know?
I mean.
But there's been so much news, and it all gets brushed over by the next thing that happens.
Yeah.
Kind of like what I was saying earlier about Batman. You know, the movie sucked, and it was crazy, and there was good parts, but my favorite part was him saying, I'm rich.
Yeah.
The best thing out of the news for the last few weeks that kind of got skipped over was Trump, whenever Biden said we beat healthcare or something, he was like, I don't know what he said. I don't even think he knows what he just said. And that was almost as good as this old Rosie O'Donnell line. I didn't say that about women. I said that about Rosie O'Donnell. Every once in a while, Trump.
O'Donnell, you're a fat pig.
Every once in a while, DJT comes through with like a tight one-liner.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Well, that's how he won, right?
Yeah.
He was basically a roast comedian.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, and if you ever go back, I mean, it sucks because it's hard to go back without being colored by all the years since, right? Because and I do not like Donald Trump, and I don't want him to be president again. Yeah. But if you can just take all the trauma out of your mind for a second and just watch those primary debates in 2016, he's so good. Like just the tearing them all down and making nicknames out of them, and how nothing works, and all of their like politician minds are like, oh, how could you do what?
Because they were like, no one had ever really done it like that before, so they were like, I don't know what I'm supposed to.
And to his credit, the first one to realize what was happening was Chris Christie. Because Chris Christie had a little bit of that in him. He has a little bit of that New Jersey, that attitude, that I'm going to come back at you with stuff. And he was like,
he's the original Mothman.
He's the Jersey Devil,
shadow.
Right? And he was the first one to recognize what was going on, and he was the first one to go over to his campaign and say, you know what, I've got to. This is going to be the guy, you know. But you just the Marco Rubio and the Jeb Bush and all the people who just looked so pathetic against him.
They just looked pathetic.
Yeah, there was a clip that I was watching though of Rand Paul, I guess, was kind of criticizing him or whatever, and he comes right back and just insults Rand Paul's haircut. And Rand Paul just kind of stops and smiles, and he's like, "He got me." Like,
well, I mean, what are you supposed to say?
I know, yeah.
Your haircut's terrible. No, it's not.
No, your hair's bad. No, your hair's bad.
Thing is, it just makes you look like an idiot. Like it's like you're ugly. No, I'm not. Right. You're stupid. No, I'm not. Fuck you. Yeah, like there's once someone just says that to you, it's like, well, all right.
Is the 6th Street rehab going to affect the Velve at all?
The 6th Street rehab?
Yeah. Have you heard about it?
No.
They're going multi-story on a lot of the stuff. They're going to have a different skyline. There used to be like a sight line of the Capitol where they kept the buildings low so you could have a nice view.
Well, yeah, it used to be a law.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That so you couldn't have it.
Altering that and adding it. Like they're going to be from 8 to 10 floors, some of the buildings.
Oh, okay. Then they're doing rehabs downtown?
It's fine. There's more shade. It's great. It's fucking hot as balls.
Yeah.
Just don't fuck with the Velve. This podcast is brought to you by the Velveeta Room.
Yes.
It's a historical comedy club. It's got a landmark plaque on the front of it. Mark Twain performed there. The phrase, you can put your boots in the oven, don't make them biscuits, was actually coined at the Velveeta Room.
Yeah, by our door guy, Michael Park. Yeah.
Is there a green room there?
Kind of. I mean, no. I mean, so there's supposed to be.
That's the best comedy club in town.
There's supposed to be, but it's filled with stuff from Esther's Follies next door.
It's got the correct amount of seats. It's got a bar, a stage, seats. Shut the fuck up. Go in there. You can hear everything. Everything's nice. There's no airs. There's no fanciness.
No.
It's just it is for exactly what it's for, and that's what you go there and you go do it.
It's a room.
Yeah,
it's a Velveeta room.
It's a room to tell jokes in.
Right.
I think it's the oldest comedy club in Austin now.
It's the longest running one. Yeah.
If you disqualify Cap from moving and shutting off.
Well, they went out of business.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, Cap City Comedy Club
Longest
now
running.
is not Cap City Comedy Club on 183, technically, right? It's
No, so they're owned by the Helium Comedy Club group, but it's still Cap City.
right.
They
right.
kept the name because it's been around for a
Yeah,
long
but it's
time.
not the same group of people that were the 183.
No,
right? Yeah.
so it's a different. I know that one of the owners, Margie. I know that she's no longer involved with them. I'm pretty sure at least, but it's a few. I know it's some of the same owners. Are still involved with it. I don't know to what capacity exactly, but I know that like Colleen still works with them, and a lot of the same managers and staff work there. So I don't actually know.
Speed Bike is going to be on hold for indefinitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we had our legendary Speed Mic open mic at the Velveeta Room every Thursday. The problem is that so we would do a showcase beforehand they would usually do well, and then as soon as the mic would start, everyone would leave.
Yeah.
And then we just would look at like the sales and be like, no one's buying anything. No one's buying any drinks for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So like we're just not doing it.
Yeah, comics.
We might bring it. Well, it's not even about comics necessarily. It's about like the audience when buy
broke,
drinks.
and we
at
bring
that
our
point.
friends, and we're only friends with each other.
Yeah.
So there's no money.
There's no money, and so it's like it's a thing where it's like, hey, if we're not spending money, you know what I mean? That's why whenever I'd post about it, I'd be like, hey, share this graphic. Like I want people to come to this.
Yeah.
And that would just so it's like it just in the end wasn't really worth it. Yeah. And there's so many mics at this point that it just doesn't serve the need that it used to. So
yeah.
There's two.
It's also the most stressful night of the week for me. So glad that that's not happening.
Hey, that sounds like good management. Sounds like that place is well managed. If you got rid of the thing that's the worst. And doesn't
get
make
rid of
any
the thing that's costing you money.
And
Yes.
you actually made it easier on yourself as well. You delegated the fuck out of that thing.
Yes, I did. I delegated it to the fucking waste bin. Get the fuck out of here, Speed Mike.
So I think we're good. I
think we've covered all the topics.
I think we've hit everything. That's the episode
world.
for today. Pat Dean. So do you have what are your social handles? How do people see you and reach you?
It's my.
What do you want us to do? Go to the Valve?
Yeah, just go to the Velveeta.
Go to Austin Java.
Listen, how about stay the fuck away from my social medias? How about that?
I don't want to engage with you.
No, I don't.
Right.
But no, my Instagram is DeanManP. You can see me there, and then I'm at the Velveeta Room every weekend. And then, listen to Landlax Corporation.
The Landlax Corporation. I Learned Nothing podcast.
Yeah, we
just
sell
go
those up. Yeah,
go find the old episodes.
yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, and thank you, America.